And this is one of my favorites in Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5. It says, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations." Now, these are the words that God was using to discuss with Jeremiah. And he was letting him know that even when you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. Even though your mother didn't know what the sex of the child would be, she didn't know what name you would have, or if you were going to be light skin, or if you were going to be dark skin, or if you were going to be fat, or if you were going to be thin. You know, all of these things the mother doesn't know, but God knows. And the reason he knows is because he's the author of life. He's the giver of life. Everything he said, let there be, there was, and there still is today. All right? So he told Jeremiah that he ordained him a prophet. And that's what I want to get into. God is the creator. He knows you. He formed you. You're in existence. And the thing that I want to deal on this afternoon is he ordained you to be something and somebody. All right? And he told Jeremiah he ordained him to be a prophet, meaning he made a proclamation. He made a decree. He made an establishment. He made a commandment that he would be a prophet. So in that we were all created in this same image and in this same likeness, then we too have been ordained to be something in the body of Christ. There's no big I's and there's no little U's. We're all created in his image, in his likeness, for his purpose, to give him praise and to worship and adore him. So I was thinking that we have this thing called the fivefold ministry. And with this ministry, he has specifically ordained us to take place in one of these sections of ministry. All right? He assigned us a position even before we came into the earth's atmosphere, while you were living in the center of your mother. All right? While you were living in the center of her, God already ordained you a position. He gave you destiny. He gave you a purpose. He gave you a title. There's something you're supposed to do. You're not just an haphazard event. You're not just the openness of what was done in secret, because even when we're created in secret, he still knows us. All right? So he ordained you to be a pastor. He ordained you perhaps to be a preacher or a teacher, an evangelist or an apostle. He ordained you to be something in the body of Christ. All right? He placed a special calling on your life. There's a specific task that's assigned just to you. He ordained, he commanded, he decreed it, he proclaimed it, he determined it would be, he established it would be, he suggested, and he appointed you to do something to build up his kingdom. All right? So with this specific task, even though we have millions of pastors all over the world, we have millions of evangelists and televangelists, and we have people in different callings, and there's room for everybody in the body of Christ. Whether your task is, if it's mega or if it's mediocre, in the eyesight of God, it's great. So we have to keep in mind that he created us for a purpose. And we have to fully live out this purpose, fully live out what he destined, what he established us to be. Okay? Now, to never accept this calling, to never exercise or never become into fruition this calling that he's given you, then it's an act of sin. To much is known, much is required. All right? So God has created you to do something, and then he ordained you to do a specific task. And then you never accept this task, then Satan has given you the same opportunity he had to disgrace God and to disrespect God. There's a calling on your life. I've already proved to you that he created you, and he created you for purpose. He created you for a plan. There's something in particular he wants you to do. At a divine appointment, there's something you are to do. Now, I don't know what your calling is, but I know you have one, and I'm speaking to you right now. If he ordained you to pastoral work and you're refusing to pastor, I don't want to pastor those people. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And you are rebelling or repelling against what he created you to be, then you're operating in a spirit of disobedience and rebelliousness. And this is the thing that got Satan removed out of heaven. If you think back, Satan he was already in the place, the spot that we're trying to live and get to, which is heaven. He was already in heaven, and he already had a position. He had favor with God because he even had the earth as his kingdom. So somewhere in his lifetime, the pre-Adamite time, or whatever you want to call it, he had favor with God, and God had given him a position. And so with him having that position, he had been faithful. And that means that he had a relationship with God. Now, where he fell short is where sin and pride and iniquity was found in him, because those are characteristics that God did not give us. All right? And he didn't give us the spirit of fear either. So we have Satan, who was removed and kicked out of heaven. And the Bible speaks of it as lightning. He was removed. He was expedited. He was expelled out of heaven, never to return. So when we operate in these same characteristics that Satan took on, then as Satan once told God that he wanted to build his kingdom above God's. And what better way for Satan to build his kingdom above God's is to take God's creation and give them the impression that they don't need to walk into that calling that God created them for, but to accept a lesser calling and a lesser degree. Now, if you accept this lesser calling and this lesser plan, then when you get before the judgment seat of God, he's going to say, I have somewhat against you. All right? If you even make it to heaven. Because sin and disobedience and the spirit of iniquity is living on the inside of you. So he's not going to say, thy good and faithful servant, you've been faithful over a few things, I'm going to make you rulers of much. He's going to say, I have somewhat against you. All right?